Eric, with you and I. We could go on forever, but I always go back to when we were staying at that place on Canada Drive in Orlando, right? And twists and turns in the business and all that. But do you remember the day that Rude came in and was demanding to almost have Sting's spot?
I do. There was a lot going on. In fact, I think Rude had the title, I think, at that point.
Yeah, well, I don't know if he did or not. I mean, I just, I feel terrible about what happened to him in his personal life and that, but it was difficult back then. Because I remember he walked you out to the car and opened the trunk. I just have a great memory. Remember, and the gun was in the trunk and told you whatever he said to you. I mean, it was terrible.
Well, what was funny is, I had known Rick since
high
after
school.
high school.
You guys are all together.
We all kind of grew up in the same zip code, so to speak, and hung out at the same bars. And we didn't hang out together at that time, but we had a lot of mutual friends and acquaintances. And I'd see him, on the weekends, and I was pretty aware of Rick's, capabilities as far as being a tough guy and all that.
Yeah, he was.
And then as once we started working together, I always got along really, really well with Rick. It was probably because of the Minnesota connection. In fact, he and I rode together right after I first got hired by WCW. He and I rode, down to Macon TV together and Gainesville TV together, and we started becoming pretty close friends. And I don't even remember the details of what led up to, that situation in Orlando, but I remember he had physical control over the belt. And I needed it back.
That's what it was. And he was like telling you and me. Remember, he was going to kill me in Philadelphia. Remember that night he came in the locker room?
Yeah, I brought Barry Windham in there, and I said, Barry, just whatever happens. Don't jump in until it's absolutely necessary. But if it's going to be permanent injuries, just be around.
Yeah, no, he was going to kill me because he thought everybody was against him.
Yeah,
and it is what it was. I mean, he was impaired in the ring, and it's like I loved Kerry Von Erich, but Kerry was impaired a lot, right? And Rick was getting to that point, and I'm not sure what happened, but he was like screaming at me, and then he was hollering at Eric, and nothing ever happened. But it was just, it was one of those things that was an awkward situation for everybody involved, and. But what I was telling you, you missed the thing. We were in Orlando, and we did these booking things, and it was me and Kevin and Eric and whoever else, and it was like an easy gig. We had a lot of fun in Orlando, right? But Rude came up and got Eric and took him outside. And did he point the gun at you, or did he just have it in the car?
No, he knew. I told him. I said, Rick, I got to get the title back. Enough is enough, And he and I ended up walking out to his car, and I don't know why I wasn't afraid. Maybe I was too stupid.
Well, I was afraid for you.
I just, and maybe it was because deep down inside, I knew Rude wasn't really. He was hot at his situation. He was angry at a lot of things, but I had never really done anything to him. And look, Rick
none of us had.
Rick Rude could have torn my head off and not even dropped the beer that was in his other hand while he was doing it. Wow. So and I knew that. But whatever reason, I walked out to his car. He opens up his trunk, and there's the belt sitting there right next to a 357. And he just kind of looked in the trunk, and he looked at me, and he reached in, and I thought, well, here it goes.
Yeah.
And he grabbed the belt. And he handed it to me, and I think that he made a statement, and that was the end of it. Nothing happened after that, really.
Well,